What's up, guys? This is Ian Michaels with Gleanster Research, and I'm going to spend a couple of minutes talking about a bit of a tricky subject, and that is the ROI of social media for B2B organizations. There's been a lot of research and case studies, and there's actually, frankly, some good frameworks for measuring social media in a B2C setting, a business-to-consumer setting. But I think for business-to-business marketers, it's still kind of a nebulous zone where we're really struggling to measure ROI, and should we even engage in social media? Well, I guess the first thing we want to find out is, are top performing organizations that achieve superior performance in revenue and return on marketing investment, are they more likely than everyone else to actually leverage social media? The answer is yes, about 2 times more likely. But these organizations still rank measurement and ROI and understanding the value of social media as the #1 challenge for executing in social media channels. So I guess when you think about should we engage, you really need to look at, is your target audience out there engaging in these channels? And one of the ways you can do that is with social media search engines. There's one called Social Mention. It's a really great tool. It's free. Go out there, put in your industry terms, put in your company name, your products, competitors. See if people are actually talking about you on social media channels, and those search engines are going to aggregate results for Twitter. It's going to show you mentions, sentiment, blogs, people who are actively blogging about potentially your industry. But it's a great way for free to go out and see if this is even something you should be thinking about. Second question is, where should we engage? There's been some great research out there that shows that the best performing channels from a lead generation standpoint for a B2B marketer are LinkedIn and your own company blog. We can certainly underscore that in Gleanster's research. I think what's interesting here is you'll see for top performers, the areas that generate the highest return or the most opportunities are actually self-created by the organization. They're the customer community, they're the blog. Certainly LinkedIn obviously takes the cake from the social media channels. And then kind of lower on the list are Twitter, Facebook, and even YouTube. And I actually think that YouTube is a great source of lead gen for your organization. It's going to be ranked very high by Google search results if you have content out there that are associated to keywords in your industry. So great source of potential opportunity there. How should you actually engage? Let's say you buy into this whole social media thing and you want to go out and engage your customers in these different channels. I think that the first thing you need to think about, content is the new black. If you don't have great content, you're not going to have great conversations. And it really has become less about a salesperson in a B2B context having all the power and control over information and passing information to their potential prospects. These individuals are empowered now with social media. They're empowered by 24/7 access to information. They can talk to your unhappy customers, your happy customers, their colleagues and peers on all these different networks and channels, and they're doing that. And so you have to inject yourself into that conversation, and it's all about creating a conversation these days, and you do that with content. And I think you generate measurable ROI in social media by actually linking content to a conversation. Go out and create some value-added touches. Make sure that you're demonstrating your thought leadership, that you're helping your prospects answer critical questions, and then you're going to become a part of those conversations. And a couple of really great examples, these are some tweets that happened, and I call them the $1 million tweets on Twitter. One of them is, someone looking for a phone system, and they just tweeted this, and because this organization was on the ball, the one that actually won the deal, they were able to reach out to this individual, impact how they evaluated the deal, and make money. And finally, question number 4, how do we measure it? This is the big question for most organizations, and here's the reality check. It is very difficult to measure the ROI of social media for a B2B marketing environment. There are too many touches, it's a complex sale, it's a complex offering, and individuals are going to have to talk with your sales folks. They're going to be exposed to email messages, your website, other competitors and peers and things, and ultimately it's very difficult to associate a lift in revenue directly to social media. And I liken this to, in B2C, in a business to consumer setting, you want to expose that brand to as many people as possible. So it's like a net. If you're fishing in the ocean and you have a bigger net, you're likely to catch more fish. And for a B2C organization, social media creates another channel or more channels. You're likely to get exposure to your brand across more people, and therefore you're going to catch more fish. And so it's easy to measure, or it's easier to measure the ROI of social media in B2C, because you can See before and after social media what happened to our transactions. Did they increase? Did they decrease in the areas we thought they would? In B2B, on the other hand, it's a big blue ocean, and you're really searching for a very finite set of individuals. These are targeted roles within an organization that have a challenge and a budget that you can solve. And so it's not like you're looking for anybody to get exposed to your solution. You really want to target those involved in the process. So not only do you have to target that individual, but you also have to be sure that your content is relevant to the CFO who may be overseeing the decision, the CIO, all kinds of different roles. But I think the deal is, it's a big blue ocean. You're trying to catch a specific kind of fish in B2B, and therefore content is like bait. You're putting your hooks out there and you're creating content to try to get exposure to the individuals who really value that content. And it makes it very difficult to actually measure ROI. That doesn't mean you can't measure social media ROI. And I think the one thing we're learning from top performing organizations, B2B marketers, is social media needs to be measured by a handful of metrics. You're not going to be measuring it with one metric, and you're very unlikely to be able to measure it by revenue alone. Although, if you do actually search the web, look for those opportunities, and one of those pops, and you can think about those $1 million tweets I talked about, you have a very good, compelling case for ROI coming out of social media. There are actually a handful of metrics that you can measure, and Gleanster has kind of classified these into 4 categories: distribution, interaction, influence, and action. And these go from somewhat weak metrics, for example, number of followers. That's a pretty weak metric to actually measure the return on social media investment, but it's valuable. If you're a small company and you're looking for brand exposure in the market, social media channels can be a great way to get out in front of people and start to grow those followers, start to grow those interactions with your brand. And then all the way down to action metrics, which are sales and conversion and people actually doing something with the marketing messages that you're putting out on these social media channels. And what we recommend is that you actually go to your organization, go to your shareholders, go to your executives, find out what they value. What do you really want to get out of exposing your brand on social media channels? And if the answer is, well, we want to get some exposure to more people, we want to find the needles in the haystack, we want to start conversations and share great information, then pick a handful of these metrics. Maybe a couple of them are associated to followers, and then a couple of them are associated to some of the stronger metrics, which are like measuring the actual opportunities generated in social media. But keep in mind, those are going to be fewer and far between. They're more of the needles in the haystack on social media. But if you put the right structure in place to measure all of these metrics at one time, then you can start to aggregate them. And what we recommend, and we've created a tool called the Gleanster Mean Performance Score tool for social media that basically creates an index for these different metrics, and it allows your organization to weight these metrics based on what you value and start to track those over time, so you have a benchmark to say, we're doing really well in the areas we want to be doing well, and to keep everyone in the organization focused on the right things in social media. You can find information on that tool in the link below. It's in a white paper called The Social Media ROI of B2B Marketing. And it outlines how to set up this tool in Excel, how to create a dashboard so you actually have on a monthly basis, you can see your performance in social media based on a handful of metrics that you pre-select. So it's pretty cool. It's a great way to actually come into your organization with some tangible numbers that you can talk about. It's not just number of followers, but hey, here are the things that we care about as an organization. This is how we're going to measure the ROI of social media in a B2B context.